Hello, ladies and gentlemen, scumbags and all. Welcome back to Mandalorian Scum. I am Rob McDonald, aka Darth Ward, the Dark Lord himself, back again here to talk about another episode of The Mandalorian. And for today's episode, I had to recruit two different guys who I assuredly made sure got their own signets in the Mandalorian Scum army. Firstly, we got the granddaddy of them all, the godfather of Rebel Scum podcast, James Rosile. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah. I'm good.
That sounded very
Finally
good.
get to talk about the ending of this show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're finally here, the season
Yeah.
finale. And, of course, we also got here Andrew Fantasia, the one and only. Andrew, how are you doing, sir? Are you happy to be here at this season finale?
I'm not happy it's over, but if James is going to be the godfather of Rebel Scum, can I be known as the Shaft of Rebel Scum?
Shaft,
You're
yeah.
probably like
Oh,
the
that's
Fredo.
that. That seems, that seems very appropriate. Shaft.
I'm just talking about the Shaft. That's all.
Have you seen Shaft yet?
No, I want to. I want to see the original first. I don't watch sequels until I watch the
Okay,
original.
okay. When you come down next week, I'll give you the original.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original's pretty good as well. And yeah, I haven't seen the new one yet. I've only seen the original and the Sam Jackson one. So you got
Right.
that. But anyway, before we get into the Mandalorian Scum talk, or specifically about the Mandalorian talk, we did want to mention and talk about a little bit because it is the anniversary of Carrie Fisher's passing when she passed away. So yeah, if we wanted to talk about that a little bit, James, what do you have to say about Carrie Fisher?
It was 3 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. Rogue One just came out. We just saw the young Princess Leia in Rogue One. We were all like, oh my god, it's so amazing. And she absolutely loved it. And then I was driving home from I think I got a really terrible phone that day. And I was driving home and Aaron was like, Carrie Fisher just passed away. And it was weird because she was on the flight and then she was in a coma, I believe, right at the time, and it was a strange vibe. And then we all knew that The Last Jedi was coming out, and she was, I think, a lot of people. She was the damsel in distress that wasn't in distress at all, right? She was. The first time we saw someone, we're like, oh, they're going to go save the princess, and then she was like, I'm actually going to save you, jackasses. And she had the thing with Carrie Fisher, she had such a wit about her, and even when it came to doing the sequel trilogy, that wit was there. She was looking forward, obviously, to the one that we just got, Episode 9, and a lot of people I don't think realize she did a lot of rewrites on the prequel trilogy as well. So she's a big part of Star Wars, a bigger part than just Princess Leia, and it was nice to see her legacy carried on through novels like Bloodline and Leia, Princess of Alderaan, and also what we just saw last week in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Like, it's like a lot of people say, like, out of the original cast, like the original three, Harrison Ford was like the big star, right? He was the one that everybody talked about, right? Like, he had so many other roles, but Carrie Fisher had a lot of impact on Hollywood itself, like, for all of her ghostwriting, right? All the stuff that she's done touch-ups on movies that she's done touch-ups on. So regardless of, she hasn't been like the star in the face of it, like, she's impacted so many different movies and so many different aspects of Hollywood. So that's definitely a part that's going to be very much missed. Andrew, what do you have to say about Carrie?
It's funny. I first saw the Star Wars trilogy when I was 7, but before that, I was still devouring, lots of movies when I was really young. So when Carrie Fisher turns the corner on the Tantive 4 there, and she's got the handcuffs on, and she's like Darth Vader, whatever. And, you see Leia for the first time. My thought as a 7-year-old was, oh my God, it's the best friend from Drop Dead Fred. That was how I knew her.
Right.
And she entered my heart as this new character, and since then, she was always Leia. And it's funny because I don't remember what I was doing or where I was when I found out she had passed away, but I remember the Debbie Reynolds follow-up, because I remember I was just brushing my teeth, and I walked out of the bathroom when I was done, and like I turned off the light in my bathroom, and my bathroom light is one of those ones where when you turn it on, it automatically turns on a fan. So it's, if you're in that bathroom, it's always noisy. So I came out of the bathroom, I turned off the light, and then the fan turns off, and there's silence for a second. And right after that silence, I just hear my mom like loudly, like, Andrew, Carrie Fisher's mom just died too. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, it was, if I felt like I've been sucker punched twice, like I was still just reeling from the fact that she was gone. I was so, I spent those next 3 years wondering what the hell her presence was going to be like in Rise of Skywalker. It was the biggest question mark hovering over that movie, bar none. Like it was huge. It cast a shadow over the entire thing. We all, had our theories and our speculations about what was going to happen with Leia. We know from hearing through the grapevine that she was supposed to, 9 was supposed to be her movie. Like 7 was Han, 8 was Luke, 9 was Leia. So we did get a different version of what was originally intended. But I think for what we got, they knocked it out of the park. That is a Herculean feat to take footage of this lady and like reverse engineer it so it fits into this entirely new movie that, let's be real here, the plot of this movie has almost zero to do with the plot of 7 and 8. Those two are so enmeshed with each other, and this one is just like a whole other thing. And they found a way to take that footage and make it work in this new story. That you got to give them props for how they pulled that off so well and so respectfully. So I'm really happy with how Leia's overall finale closed things off.
No, yeah, it was very much a Herculean feat, like you said, Andrew. Like for them to wrap it up as well as they did, like could have been better, absolutely. But I think it was most important that we actually got these, this final movie with Carrie, and Carrie actually finally got the top billing in a Star Wars movie. Right, that's never happened before, and it was special for her to be able to, us to be able to say goodbye to Princess Leia in the way that we did. Yeah. So anyway, this show is called Mandalorian Scum. So as hard of a transition as it could possibly be to transfer from Carrie Fisher to the Mandalorian shooting stormtroopers in the face, we will try our best. So going into it, we have the season finale. We had the huge episode. Firstly, we've been talking about when's we're gonna get sort of these big episodes. When's the plot gonna come back? Last week it definitely came back. So very briefly, what did you guys think of last episode as we move into this one? Andrew, you go first.
Last week was definitely, for me, like you said, like I'm one of those guys who was like, I like this show a lot, but damn, I just wish there was more plot. Last week there was plot, baby, and it was there. It was front and center. It really kind of brought everything to a head. You could almost say that retroactively they really did a good job of finding reasons for all those standalones, because it was about, okay, I need to put a team together. Let's go get Quill. Let's go get Kara. And I was, for a second, I almost thought like, oh, is he gonna find out where Bill Burr is or whatever and break him out and join the team too? But that wouldn't have made sense. No. But no, I liked last week's a lot, and I think it really it set the stage for an excellent finale and made us hungry, and that's what the penultimate episode of any season should do.
James?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was the series was a slow burn. It knew it was a slow burn, but it was Dave Filoni at his finest. We all bring it right back to the space whales. Like, what is the point? And then you find out what the point is. It might not be right away. This one, was an entire season, and we got there. And last week's episode was, up until that point, my favorite episode of the season by far. And not that the other ones weren't. It's just that one was, I was like, okay, here we are. We got this. And it was only 40 minutes long.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got into this episode.
How long was this episode? How long was this episode?
48 minutes.
48 minutes? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't look at the time going in. I was like, whatever they're throwing at me, I'm good to go, because I'm not getting Baby Yoda for a while. So whatever you want, just make sure the camera's on Baby Yoda for at least 17 minutes today. That was me going into it.
By the way, James,
yeah.
the space whales get name dropped in the episode 9 visual dictionary.
Of course they do, because they are what matters in Star Wars.
In what page? I'm kind of curious now for a second, Andrew. Like, where did they name drop him?
I can't remember. It had something to do with, I think, when they're talking about the how, like the technical how of Poe doing his light speed skipping. I think they're saying like it's something to do with they took technology from watching what the Purgles do and tried to adapt it to ship combat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so Poe does his space whale homework, I guess. Anyway, going in now we got this episode 8, the season finale, 48 minutes long, how we said. I kind of expected it to be the longest one because, again, they had to wrap it all up and, jam-pack, an ending to this season, at least in some type of way. So, real quickly, guys, James, what did you think of this episode?
Awesome.
Awesome. There we go. Word answer. Andrew, how about you, man? What did you think of the season finale?
I think, look, the Mandalorian used his jetpack with no jetpack training. He's a Mary Sue.
No,
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau ruined my childhood. Star Wars is dead.
Star Wars is dead.
He had training, Andrew. They made that very clear. When the Mary Sue of the series asks him if he's... I'm just joking.
All right, there we go. Mary Sue. That's the title of this video. We're all done. We're Mandalorian the Mary Sue. More specifically, I guess it is Din the Mary Sue, because in this episode we finally got the name of the Mandalorian by what we should call him specifically, and the last name is Din Djarin. So we got the big reveal here with the name, and specifically about his backstory. We got the full flashback of it all. We've been talking about this, who's gonna save him, who's gonna save him, and we speculated that it could have been just simply Mandalorians, but perhaps we were thinking bigger. What'd you think about this reveal in terms of what actually saved the Mandalorian, or Din Djarin specifically, from the super battle droids, James?
Well, the Din Djarin name was revealed by Pedro Pascal in a YouTube interview a while ago, which was kind of strange.
Yeah.
And nobody batted an eye, and Disney wasn't nobody cared. They're just like, it's Din Djarin. So that kind of happened. So it wasn't a surprise. I like the way that they used his identity all season without anybody knowing who he is or his backstory or whatnot. Not for the sake of the Mandalorian, but for the sake of Moff Gideon. They used it for Gideon. And that's why I think it's okay for Pedro Pascal to say that, because it wasn't about him really hiding his identity. It was more about the fact that nobody knows who he is. It's so much more powerful that this bad guy knows who he is, and that's really where I thought it was really unique in the way that they used that. So I really enjoyed the reveal of his name, even though he's not anybody that has anything to do with anything. But I thought that was the point of hiding who he was so that we found out how strong this Moff Gideon was, which was wow, what a character what a character he is gonna be.
No, yeah, and that was very key, because it was like, not only did he reveal about Din Djarin and his past, name dropping him, also name dropping Cara Dune, which her full name is Cara Cynthia Dune of Alderaan specifically. So that was a very interesting part of it, where it's like, oh, she's from Alderaan. Yep. She got out before it exploded, and then also with revealing Greef Karga that he's a magistrate as well, so a former lawman as well. Disgraced magistrate, I believe he said it. So adding all these extra elements to characters in which we know will probably pay off in season 2 possibly, right? Maybe with them getting their own episodes, or semi-focused episodes. So it was a very strong scene for Gideon in general. Andrew, what'd you think of this scene and getting the backstory of Din Djarin?
Yeah, I loved Gideon basically telling us the full story of these three. The Alderaan thing, I actually had to do a double take, because I was like, oh, wait, he just said Alderaan.
Right.
Now, maybe you guys can clear this up for me, because I was a little thrown for a loop with the timing of everything, because I know, all right, it's been established on the show that the Empire did some genocide on Mandalore. Is that correct? That's
The Purge.
The Purge, right? That was the Imperials who did the Purge. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
there's been multiple purges of Mandalore, but I believe that that's the one they're specifically referring to in this episode.
but we don't know what they're referring to necessarily.
No, we don't. But judging by the way he said about the blaster rifles, right, and how they took down many Mandalorians in the siege of Mandalore, one would assume that that's the one that they're referring to, right? But if you look at Mandalore's backstory, there's been several sieges from different.
I'm going with that. This is, and Andrew, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going with this is something that happens well after Rebels, like whatever this new purge is a new purge after Rebels. Because of something that happens at the end of the episode.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. The Rebels I forgot about, because when he's like, okay, I'm not a Mandalorian, I was just sort of adopted by them. I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to sort of trace where he's from. So we see his flashback, which is not on Mandalore.
Yeah.
As they established. That's just whatever planet he's from. Cool. But they're showing the separatist droid. So this is Clone Wars era. So I'm trying to figure out here why were the Mandalorians fighting separatists? Because the only time that we know of that the Mandalorians got involved in the Clone Wars is when the Clone Wars came to them, but that's not Mandalore, because he said, I'm not a Mandalorian. So what's this random planet that they're defending from the separatists? That kind of threw me off. That really, I didn't quite grasp the when and where of all.
I would not dwell on that, Andrew, because, and I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm saying that because the way things seem to be going is these are tidbits of information you're going to get. Like, I think I think we could all speculate. We can, because that's what's fun. But I think, season 2, whatever, you'll probably learn what planet he was on and why the Mandalorians went there and stuff like that. That's what, because I know what you're saying, but I immediately went to, okay, we're going to figure out, they're going to tell us at some point what's going on here, because that's the way things are happening, right? Like, it's a slow burn. I can't think season 2 won't be a slow burn, and we're going to slowly get, it'll be quicker than season 1, but we'll get more information about his backstory as the series goes on. That's what I thought. I don't know, Rob, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, my suspicion, at least this is all it can be, is my idea is that I think that battle in which these super battle droids took out whatever Din's planet is, my suspicion is that probably takes place before Satine's death and before Pre Vizsla takes over Mandalore. Because if we know Clone Wars, Satine is very much like an ally to the Republic, right? Like, she has a very strong connection with Obi-Wan, and so if she is the ruler of Mandalore, it's very likely to think that, she would send out, deploy troops that would be assisting or having battles with the Separatists. So my guess is that this moment takes place during Satine's rule, in which she is providing aid to the Republic, and perhaps in this scenario it's like, Separatists are destroying this planet. We can't get Jedi there. We can't have clone troopers there. So they send out an infantry unit of Mandalorians that saves as many people as they can from this planetary attack. That's my suspicion, but it can literally be changed in any type of way. Like,
that's interesting.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Now, in that case, here, never tell me the odds, guys. In season 2, what do you think the odds are? We see Satine in a flashback, and who would you want to play her if we do?
We're gonna get one of her or her sister for sure, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Satine is a tough one. Like, revealing my cards as well. Like, my never tell me the odds is actually about Bo-Katan and how Bo-Katan could possibly show up. So, to start off with Satine, whether she could show up, I'm going to go on the lower end, because I think that, if anything, she would be, like, in the background in any type of way. So I'm going to go about 10% for Satine. And then asking the question to you guys as well, what are the odds that Bo-Katan shows up and, possibly being played by Katie Sackhoff live action.
97% on Bo-Katan.
97%.
They've said it. They've already set it up by the end of this episode. They've set that up. Right. Unless she gets.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see me. I forgot. I just did the slit throat and then pretended I was dead. So it's either that or I'm gonna go very high on her.
And what about Satine?
30.
30? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it could, but I don't know if they'll go that. I just don't feel like the detail will be there in that far back a flashback, if that makes sense. I'm not against it.
Gotcha. All right, and what do you think, Andrew? What do you think about Satine showing up and also Bo-Katan?
I think Bo-Katan 93%, and I think there's a very good chance they'll get Katie to step into the role. I think, if I remember right, I think Bo-Katan has red hair, but they can just dye her hair.
If she even takes her helmet off.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
Satine, I can see them doing 25% chance. And they'll probably just get somebody we haven't really heard of to play her. I doubt she'll have much to do. But I think it would be neat to see her in the flesh.
I gotta say, I've been watching the show with Erin every week, and she knows diddly about Mandalore. And she has no questions on anything. None. She's just like, because they're giving her the information she needs, right, to enjoy the show. So I just want to bring that up, that I think, as much as diehard fans like you guys can look at this, regular, just the regular fans, people watching it, can still get on board with what's being laid down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, very much so. So was she familiar? Is she familiar with the Darksaber, James?
Oh, not even a little bit.
Yeah. No, yeah, but again, we've already kind of hinted at it. So again, that was the big ending where we get to see, Moff Gideon after he's been taken down by the Mandalorian, after he's been taken down by Din in his TIE fighter, just carves his way out of this TIE fighter with the Darksaber. So I mean, he's had it for a fairly decent amount of time. I don't know when this siege would have happened, but he clearly, I guess, disarmed Bo-Katan and took the item itself. What did you think about this final twist, guys? James, firstly, you.
At first I was like, wow, I guess he's dead. That's weird. But this show has no shame in killing people off. Let's just call that out right now. Like, if someone dies, you're like, well, but it was kind of like, and then when the camera obviously didn't cut away, it's like, okay, well, he's coming out. And then when it started going towards this crashed TIE, I immediately just kind of shouted out, he's got a lightsaber. And then when he pulled, when it started to glow, and he started cutting, I started getting really excited for the possibility of what he could have. And then seeing it in live action was really cool. I thought it looked really, really cool. And it just kind of made me say, this is a live action animated show. It takes itself a smidge more seriously than an animated show. A smidge. But it's like, it is, when we watch Rebels, when we watch Clone Wars, when maybe Resistance, when we watch these shows, this is what we expect out of those, these throwbacks to canon, these throwbacks to stories that we know, that we love. And all of a sudden it's there. It's on the screen in live action, where my parents are going to watch the Clone Wars in February. I'm sorry to ruin everything, but they're going to watch this. And it's there now. It's like, this is, it's almost on par with what we go to the theater to see every few years, or whenever the hell the next one is. It was just, I thought it was a great ending, because it ended the season, and then it started the path for season 2.
Right. Andrew, what'd you think?
Wow. Star Wars has countless moments that I love, but it has only a small handful of moments where I'm legitimately, picking my jaw up off the floor.
Can I guess what they are?
Sure. Guess at least 4 of them, and you get a cookie.
Okay. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when Star Wars hits the screen, Jabba the Hutt, Jabba licking Leia. That's 4.
Yeah. You missed Sice Noodles, but no, they're like, the last big one in recent memory was finding out was McClunky, and
Yeah.
and finding out that, oh, psych, Luke is on Octo and he's been meditating this whole time and that was just a projection. Seeing Baby Yoda for the first time, and now this. And it's so weird because all three of us at one point have talked about it. That's the thing. We've at one point all talked about, guys, do you think we might see the Darksaber in the show? And I think we all reached the consensus that we probably will sooner or later. So I was shocked by how much I was shocked to see the Darksaber, if that makes any sense. Because as soon as I see, like, you see the red the Jawas scatter, and I'm like, okay, he's cutting his way out. Then you see what he's using to cut his way up, and I'm like, it's real. And it looks good. It translates well from animation to live action. Like, it doesn't look stupid. I just was floored that it really showed up. Like, this is real. This is the Star Wars stuff that we love, and it's here.
It's one of those things where you're like, well, it could easily come in the show, but then in the back of your mind it's like, well, they're not going to, because there's too many variables around it. Like, nobody will understand it. How do they get there? It's there's too much against it, and they were just like, no, that's part of the history, and we're gonna stick with that. And I love that. I loved it.
Exactly. Just like how it's like, hey, do you think if a year ago one of us would have been like, you think we might hear Kanan Jarrus's ghost speak to Rey? It's like, that'd be nice, but it's not gonna happen, and it friggin' happened.
A week ago, we would have said that.
Yeah.
You know what that moment really reminded me of? Like, if this episode was actually in the theater and, we could be there around there with fans and, the casual fans and whatnot, this really reminded me of that moment when you're in the theater and watching the Avengers for the first time, and that ending comes and Thanos shows up, and it's like, other people, like, after the movie's done, it's like, so who's that? Just asking about who that is. If this was in the theater, we would have definitely had, like, the casual fans. We would have seen them, like, lean over, be like, so what's that? Where's that come from? To the diehard Star Wars fans. So that's literally like what I thought of when that ending happened. And again, you guys have outlined very, very, very much. I can't wait to see this thing in action. I mean, we probably should have suspected that it's a possibility that it could show up in the hands of Moff Gideon. But at the same time, like, we weren't thinking it. Like, the way they were setting up, like, his connection to Mandalore and the Mandalorians, like, it should have been something that we could have possibly even seen coming. But it just wasn't on my radar because I wasn't thinking that if they were gonna, debut the Darksaber, I didn't really think that it would just show up randomly just like that, right? Like, I thought it would be like a case where it's like similar to Luke's lightsaber in Force Awakens. They would just open up a case and it would just be there, right? And in that type of way. But so it really excites me to see the Darksaber actually in action, possibly in season 2, like similar with like the way it has like that shading like effect, like how the lightsaber, the Darksaber itself, like leaves a trail behind it, like in the shows. I want to see that very much so. So that's me just getting giddy off of that. But we got to get up to the other big moments in this episode. And you know what? I can't believe it took us this long to get to it. The biggest moment in the episode was literally
when Baby Yoda got punched.
When Baby Yoda got punched, and this is exactly this happens within this scene. We got two scout troopers just randomly just having conversation at the beginning of the episode. It's like they have like a 5-minute conversation about, I want to see the child, I want to see this, right? And voiced by Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally, who's from a number of different shows and whatnot. But so I just love these two banter together, and it were very fun scenes that Taika, who's very much a comedy director, was able to showcase these two characters. Andrew, what'd you think about this opening scene of the episode?
I didn't know that was those two guys. Who's Jason Sudeikis again? Like, where's he from?
Oh, it's like he's from SNL, and he was in Horrible Bosses, and
okay,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. I know who, like Adam Pally. I recognize his name, but yeah, the other guy was like, that conversation, man. I could have watched like maybe a whole half hour of those two just like waiting to get that call, just chilling on their speeder bikes. That was great. I'm so happy we got that scene, and that scene reminded me that I was, because I had forgotten. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm watching a Taika Waititi episode. Like that scene was the one that brought that back to light for me. And every time they punched the baby, I was just like, oh god, like this horrible stuff. And like I could hear all the Baby Yoda fans out there who keep making the memes and saying like, if Baby Yoda dies, we riot. Like all those people, like I could just hear them like hissing and booing at these two guys. And it was really cool to see IG-11 just like smack them down in a really like over the top violent way that you don't always get in Star Wars. It was kind of nice to see that.
Oh, absolutely. James?
I waited a week and a half to see IG-11 go all John Wick on the Star Wars universe. I was like, as soon as my dear friend Quill died, I said, well, IG-11 is going to have something to say about that. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited patiently. And then I watched Star Wars twice in the theater. And I still waited, and we got it, and it was awesome. And yeah, the banter between the Scout Troopers was hilarious. I thought the only thing was, I was like, okay, I get it. They can't go in because IG-11's got to come and kill them. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. I guess that's the one that, because at one point I'm like, well, this is going on for a while. Stop punching Baby Yoda. And then they got taken out. And like, here we go. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. But the other flaw with this episode. Can I just say the thing with this episode? Was just like when he's like, you have until nightfall.
Oh, I think
like,
you cut it there for James.
Just kill him. Just kill him. Moff Gideon. Because
Because
Moff Gideon was awesome, and it's like, let's wait till nightfall. And I'm like, I don't
Thanks again, Skype.
It looks like it
Thanks
never.
for
The sun
nothing.
never sets where they are.
We'll see if we get James back. But either way, yeah, it was
for
very
like 2
odd.
hours.
Oh,
Here
is he
comes
back?
Just ignore it and keep going.
Okay, but either way, yeah, it was a very interesting moment where it's like just kept punching him. It's almost like a punching bag over there. So I almost wonder if Disney would dare just release a Baby Yoda or the child punching.
I want a Baby Yoda on a bike trooper, scout trooper, Black Series.
Yes. Yeah. Did you guys notice something was made, I guess, canon during this scene with the biker scouts that I don't think we have ever had in Star Wars before? Something was said that I don't think I've ever heard anybody say.
Said?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I can't recall what it could be. James, you have any guesses?
No.
No. Tell us, Andrew.
One of the scout troopers says, "Oh my God."
Ha! Well, I mean, if they say hell, don't they normally say force?
True.
Don't they normally say force when they refer to?
I think in the books they get like weird and cheesy with swear words because they think they're cool, and it's like,
I hate
oh,
that.
Star's End. This
Yeah.
is terrible.
What
the Star's End is going to like? Just say hell.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer hell. Han Solo says hell. I think someone else does. We got Wise Ass a couple episodes ago. I'm okay with oh my God. I'm okay. It's something that people say. I don't know why they can't say it in Star Wars. I do prefer that to like, oh my Galaxy's Edge, or oh my Batu. It's like, no, just say what it. Because otherwise, I think I'm with you. I think it sounds hokey. And when you read those books, and sometimes they do it, I'm like, well, that's hokey, but it's a book, so I'll let this one slide.
No, yeah, I can let it slide too. I mean, they've already like we said, like started hinting at that type of stuff. So. I mean, I guess there is a heaven and a God within Star Wars as well.
Well, it definitely didn't take Rob or I out of the episode, Andrew, because neither one of us even realized they said it. Because I don't even think I picked up on Wise Ass. And these are just like things that people say that I don't think about. You know, it's like, right. I'm sure. Like, I did notice the bathroom. I'm like, oh my God, there's a toilet in Star Wars. Like that I noticed. But when they say God or hell, it's like. You know what but yeah, that's interesting that they brought that up. I mean, you've got to think if it's Church of the Force, there's probably other churches out there, right? Other religions and stuff like that. So
it's probably
that makes sense.
The Presbyterians of Alderaan.
Yeah.
No, totally. So James, you kind of hinted at it a little bit there, like IG-11 going John Wick on it all, because then as he gets on that speeder bike with the baby, makes his way over and bails out basically. The crew, at least in some type of way. We get these gigantic battle scenes within this episode. We already talked about, Din taking out the TIE fighter, and then we got this huge battle scene where Din grabs like the gigantic blaster turret. Like he's already kind of done that in the first episode, but the fact that he just mounts it like he's a heavy trooper and just starts opening fire on everybody. This just fight scene was just really awesome, and like you said, IG-11 kicked a lot of butt.
I like that you're on a first name basis with Din already.
already.
Yeah, that speeder bike fight where he's got the baby and he's shooting down the troopers on the bike, I think that was the best fight scene that the show has given us.
Yeah,
right.
I wouldn't disagree.
No, it was... no, absolutely. And the way we were talking about that, we missed the one very key moment with the scout troopers when we were talking about them. Is the moment where we see that these scout troopers are even as awful shots as the stormtroopers are, where they're just trying to shoot
I continually laughed at that.
Away.
I was laughing at that for a while. Yeah. That had me going.
The one guy shakes his gun like he's blaming.
There's something wrong with this gun. It's not me.
That had me going. Man. I appreciated that joke. But they even made fun of stormtroopers' aims with Bill Burr earlier, and it's an ongoing gag on the show, and I look forward to more of it in season 2. For sure!
Mm-hmm. Well, very much so. And then in that big moment, in that big battle, we see that, they're taking out all the stormtroopers and stuff like that, but they're kind of forgetting about Gideon, and that's when Gideon takes the shot, hits Din in the back of his helmet, and also takes out the turret and whatnot. He's in really bad shape, and, I was glad the way they... resulted in this, because they brought in the flame trooper, and it was just a reason, because in this moment where Din is hurt, the Mandalorian's hurt, and we've already established that Baby Yoda can heal. The reason why the Baby Yoda, the child, does not heal him is because he has to save them from the flame trooper, and kind of like
Also, had Baby Yoda saved the Mandalorian, I can't call him Din like you. Had that happen, from what we've seen, when he's done stuff like that previously, and Rey with Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren and Ben Solo with Rey, Baby Yoda would have died. And had Baby Yoda died, oh boy, let me tell you something. My subscription would have ended. My TV would be broken. I would not be here talking right now. I would be driving along. We're gonna have him. Aaron was like, Baby Yoda's gonna heal him. I'm like, if he heals him, he dies. And I'm not ready for this yet.
That's interesting, right? Because I guess in Rise of Skywalker, they're like fairly fatal, injuries will kill the other person.
Rey says right there that you have to give part of your life to heal. It's like the life for life. So,
right. Yeah. Well, yeah, but which is the odd part, because seemingly in the previous episode when Greef Karga gets poisoned. That's a life-threatening, thing that he would die, moments after.
Doesn't he pass out though?
He does pass out, but not nearly as long as he passed out when he took out the Mudhorn, right? Like he was just out for what seemed like just a few hours. Yeah, yeah.
The infection might not have spread in Greef Karga either. It might have been contained to one area.
James, do you think when Baby Yoda healed Greef Karga's poison, do you think he got Greef pregnant?
Yeah, with Karga babies. Wait, Crota babies.
Crota babies. And all of them will be named Apollo.
Yeah,
but he didn't heal him on the womb though. Andrew didn't heal him on the womb.
That we know of.
Well, by the way, Baby Yoda, are we going to get more Yoda species? I love that nobody in the galaxy knows what the hell it is. I love that about this. Love it.
It's a Zoknarf, I told you.
Yeah, that would be... Actually, did you hear what John Williams' name is in The Rise of Skywalker?
No, he's not even in the book.
All right, give me a minute. Guys, I need a minute. Our friend Austin Schur mentioned it to me, and he said... hold on. Oh, my God, where is it?
Well, regardless, when you mentioned it about whether we're going to see more Baby Yodas, that's definitely something that they hinted at, because, again, the two things that he was told, the Mandalorian was told by the armorer, is that he either needs to take care of this child until it comes of age, or you find more of its species. You find it a home, right? You find its place to be. So it's very possible. I mean... We've been talking about it for a decent amount, where it's like, are we going to get more of this? Are we going to find out what the species is called? And, the way they hinted at it, I think in season 2, we could very well see more of them.
Oh, and that's a great, talk about setting up a great story for season 2, where it's just, I have to find the home world that this thing comes from.
Right.
Oh, there's so much you can do with that. I'm really excited to see how they do that.
Yeah, they've set up so many different things that could happen in season 2, where it's like, where's the baby from? He's gonna have to learn how to ride the jetpack, the dark saber, right? Still, we didn't find out who that was at the end of episode 5, chapter 5. So that's gonna come into play in season 2. So a lot of things that they're playing with for season 2. And the other thing is, of course, the way this episode ends with Kara joining Grief Karga to become a bounty hunter, or at least be his muscle in the bounty hunter guild. So that's that. I can't wait for everything that they started setting up for season 2.
All right, John Williams' character name in The Rise of Skywalker, Oma Trez.
Oma Trez, okay.
An anagram of Maestro.
Maestro.
So Andrew, you might be right on.
It's Zochnarf, I'm telling you.
Tell everybody why it's Zochnarf, though.
Oh, because if you take the word Zochnarf, which I've chosen to spell Zoknarf, and you spell it backwards, you get Frank Oz. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Andrew's
that's
a
your
nerd.
Tidbit of the day. So again, we got the one remaining thing in this episode in which, we have to say goodbye to another character. We said goodbye to Quill last episode. We said goodbye to the client last episode as well. IG-11, he makes the ultimate sacrifice in this moment in which they're in the boat, in the lava, and they're coming across, an encampment of stormtroopers. He literally, when he stepped into that lava and, started walking like that, I got, for some reason I thought of the movie Dante's Peak.
Oh, Aaron and I both yelled out
Terminator.
Terminator.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. There's a moment in the movie Dante's Peak where they're in the part of it where there's acidy water, and then somebody has to step out to bring the boat to shore so they don't all die, and it just reminded me very much of that. And Terminator as well. And these final moments in which he really connects with the Mandalorian are special, and then the fact that he has to go out protecting them all, right? The only person that has the only living thing, although he's not a living thing, as he kind of pointed out, to see the Mandalorian Din without his helmet is IG-11, and now he's gone. He could have been the one person in which he could talk with him about, in that type of way. Because he refuses to take it off to Grief, refuses to take it off to Kara, and he goes out in the same way he wanted to several times in the first episode with just exploding himself. And, this time not doing it for the simply selfish way where it's just it's just my programming. It's a combination of the programming and also sacrificing for, the people that he's trying to protect, right? That was the whole thing with Quill reprogramming him, and how he has to care for the child, how he has to be this nurse, right, and care for anyone. So IG-11, Taika Waititi is gone. Andrew, how did you feel about the way they said goodbye to IG-11?
That was a cool death. It was very poetic. First episode he spends the whole time trying to blow up, and this one he finally blows up. So It just closed a nice little loop on the character, and it was very fitting just from a story standpoint, because he was such a powerful, fighter. He was really good. Him dying really brings up the stakes. So I'm not saying I'm glad he's dead because I liked him, but I'm glad he's dead because it makes the story more interesting now.
Oh yeah, James.
I'm glad he's dead.
How'd you feel it did? God, he's dead.
Kill him. I like that he served his purpose, and I think he's the kind of character that because he's a nursing droid and because he's a bounty hunter, he could have been a crutch going forward. They could always be like, oh well, we got this. Let's just have IG-11 come. It's good riddance. Again, there is.
Yeah, he could have been a story crutch easily because it's he was so powerful, right? He's so easily able to take them all out, right? Possibly literally the only reason why Din Flash McMahon was able to take him out is because he kind of got that cheap shot off in the first episode, right?
And he was doing it to protect the baby.
It's a difficult character to have because of how powerful he is general.
Well, yeah, even like in this one, as soon as he shows up, like he takes out so many troopers, and then as soon as he shows up in that little bar where they're hiding out, the rest of the episode up until his death is like literally the other characters just being like, IG, do this for us, IG, do that for us. So it's a good thing that he's gone, because that crutch could have really put a sour note on the rest of the show. But no, he went out exactly when and how he should.
No, totally. And the way that he was forecasting in the first episode throughout it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, definitely.
They know what they're doing, kids. They know what they're doing over there at Story Group. Don't you worry.
No, totally. So in terms of Never Tell Me the Odds, I think we've run it all through. Andrew, you gave your odds. James, do you have a Never Tell Me the Odds?
The odds of... Oh, I had one. I just lost it.
It sometimes just fleets away. Sometimes, kids. That's what happens when you get older.
Well,
right?
I have it
Like,
written down
just...
somewhere. I have it written down.
No, totally.
The odds
No, so,
of a new... Hey, I'm going here.
Yep.
Come
Go
on.
for it.
Let's go. The odds of a new droid being a main character in season 2.
Odds of a new droid being a character in season 2.
Are we gonna have a droid character show up again, like IG-11, like R2, like that weird R2 unit was like, I'm muscle.
I love that R2 unit so much.
You know what I loved
It's like
about
a
it is it
skeleton
was
R2.
Star Wars.
R2.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's. I'll start off with first. I don't know if it'll be a main character, but they're definitely going to introduce more droid characters. They have to, and one that'll be a semi-regular, I can very much see, because droids are so ingrained with Star Wars. So for us to get a new droid that shows up in season 2 for at least a couple episodes, I'm going to go 75%.
I'm going to go, because I know Mando's not a fan of droids.
But maybe it opened his heart.
Yeah, maybe it opened his heart. IG did change this. You know what? I'm going to go 42%. I think it would be fun. Yes, it falls into the trap of like making the universe smaller when you could expand and introduce new things. But I think it would be fun. I can assume we're all going to see Tatooine again, because that is the biggest open-ended question mark that the show gave us. So wouldn't it be kind of neat if like the droid who joins the Mando's crew in season 2 is R5D4, and like he just has adventures with them, because we know he's alive, we know he's kicking there. Somebody fixed his motivator.
Oh, that'd be funny. Totally.
I'm gonna go full Brock.
James,
Full Brock.
go full Brock.
I do like that idea
50,
of R5 though. I would be down for that. Like, hashtag justice for R5.
Yes.
No,
Hashtag,
totally.
what about that red one?
What about that red one? Totally. All right, guys. So, yeah, now we get into the top 5 favorite moments of the episode. Top five. James, you want to start off with your 5th favorite moment?
Number
or
5
scene of this
the
episode?
Scout Troopers shooting and missing whatever the hell they were shooting at.
Right. No, that's a very good call. That's pretty
The
awesome.
rest of my top 5
Andrew,
are
you're
all
number
just
5.
Baby Yoda looking at the camera.
Andrew, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is not far from what James just said. It's when Grief Karg is like, do your hand thing, and Baby Yoda just waves. And
Oh my god. That's my number 4.
That's a push. That's a push for me. And number 5 is the child does the magic hand thing. You know, that's I love that moment.
I liked
So
it a
your
little
number
bit more
4
than
is the
you
magic
guys.
hand
That's
thing?
my number 4.
Number 4. No, that's fair enough. My number 4 is just I could have had the multiple scenes like separately on this list, but I just said number 4 is just the action in this episode. The action in this episode was just really great and really awesome. The one action scene that we didn't really talk too much about was the armorer, in which she gets taken on by the stormtroopers, and she just starts smashing stormtrooper helmets. And so that one's really awesome. Your number 4, Andrew.
my number 4 is IG-11 with the baby on the bike, just wrecking the hell out of Navarro's stormtrooper contingent there, and really accurately too, because that Jawa didn't get hit. he had his trooper on either side of him, and he's like, "Whoa, Ortini," and like he was fine. So that droid can shoot.
That's my number 3, Andrew. I can't wait to find out what your number 1 is, so I know what my number 0 would be. That's what. That's my number. My number 3 is IG-11 doing that. I thought that was fantastico.
No, totally. My number 3 is just the Scout Troopers bantering. I want to see them just talk. Like I want to see what their day-to-day lives are, where they just have to talk about random things. About it's like, oh, what are you gonna order at the restaurant today? Oh, I'm gonna have the blue milk. Oh, I'm gonna have the green milk, or whatnot, right? Like just that type of stuff.
Do you guys think they have a Star Wars podcast?
Those two?
Yeah.
They
It's
better.
called it's called Scouting Around with Clem and Earl.
Oh my God.
Clem and Earl. Fair enough. Number 2, Andrew. What is your number 2?
Hold on. I don't think I did my 3 yet.
Oh, you didn't? Okay,
No.
never mind. Apologies. Go ahead. 3.
My 3 is just the visual of our heroes on this little gondola in the lava with this giant mutant R2 unit like rowing them through the lava. Like that's so Star Wars, man. I love that.
No, totally. I could very much see one of those random gondolas with that R2 unit just in the background of Mustafar. That needs to be in a special edition for the prequels. Just you see one of those guys just going along.
Yeah.
James, what's your number 2?
Great question. Oh, it's the Armorer kicking ass. That was awesome. Like Stormtrooper. Okay, so when I watch TV and movies, I watch them like this. You guys can't see me, but my face is very like drab. I'm just like yeah, great, and I don't react unless it's funny. At that moment, I was like, ooh. I actually said that out loud, and I looked around, and I was like, who hurt me? And my rapid's like, ha 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 ha. And so I loved that moment. That actually might be my favorite moment. Even no, number 1 is still my favorite moment. That was so cool to see, just the way their helmets shattered. Like they shattered. I was like, yes, awesome. Moving on.
She makes good weapons. What can we say, right? Mm-hmm. So my number 2 here then is IG-11 Sacrifice. Just the way that came full circle. He finally got to use that detonator that he's been wanting to use for all of Chapter 1. I love that moment, and it was just it's a sad to see that character go. Andrew, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Clem and Earl, the Scouts, on their little speeder bike chat. God bless those guys, and we know God is real because they said so.
Yeah. So then, my number 1 is it a push? I don't know if we all got it. The Darksaber, just showing up the Darksaber. And premiering it in live action. That is easily my number 1 moment, and probably one of my favorite moments of the entire series so far. So, Andrew, what is your number 1?
Well, my number 1 was gonna be Gina Carano's smile, but I think you're right. I think the Darksaber should take precedence over that, because that really threw me for a loop, and it shouldn't have, but it did. So I got to give it full props for doing that. Wonderful.
James, what is your number 1?
Baby Yoda stopping that fireball coming at him. I love me some shock troopers. Don't give a crap what anyone says. That was awesome. He's just like, I'm stopping fire, guys. And everyone's like, oh my God, Baby Yoda's the best. Because Baby Yoda is the best. And he stopped fire from killing our heroes. And if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have seen the Darksaber. So suck on that.
Very true.
That is very true. Yoda is the reason why we're getting the Darksaber. Baby Yoda stopping the fire. I was like, this is awesome. I want to see this. I want every Force user ever. Also, side Akbar, my 1B favorite moment was when we heard about the Jedi versus the Mandalorian and how they were magicians and they were all like, no one really quite knows what Jedi are, and I thought that was awesome the way they were putting it on it. It goes back to what Rey says in The Force Awakens, that I thought it was a myth, like all of that. I thought it kind of feeds into what the Jedi were after Order 66, what they kind of became. So I thought that was really cool to hear as well.
Yeah, I believe Din / the Mandalorian said full on, it's like, oh, you want me to take this creature to a planet full of sorcerers, right? Yeah, that was very cool. Just seeing that. I guess it's just the outer rim in general. I guess Jedi and all this type of stuff of the Force is just so obscure to them. Something that they're just.
I love it. I love that they're
not even on their radar.
I just love that they're consistent with it. Like they're being very consistent on it all, and I really when that was brought up, I was like, that's a nice touch. That's nice.
Oh, totally.
So now we have to wait, what, 7 years till season 2?
I'm guessing November. I'm guessing November.
That'd be lovely. That would be lovely.
Well, they're shooting it
That'd
now.
be amazing, too, because... Yeah. And then it just gives us something, in December to still talk about Star Wars related stuff. So if it concludes again around like this same time, that would be perfect. So in general, though, that's when we're getting season 2 of the Mandalorian. But I got news for you guys. It won't be that long that you'll be seeing more Mandalorian Scum, because we will be continuing on with this show monthly. So you'll still get us, talking about random things and aspects of the of what we saw. With further insight as we find out more things from Jon Favreau and whatnot, and as we get trailers and different news comes out about it. So you will definitely be getting more Mandalorian Scum soon. But as for in general Rebel Scum podcast, we still got a lot of stuff coming on. Like it's crazy to think that we're still only a week removed from Rise of Skywalker, James. So what do we got coming up on the channel, and what can people be looking for?
Great question. I have no idea. We've got ranking. We're going to do our yearly rankings of Star Wars films where we all rank them. And I will say we have a lot of them this year. We do Patreon, and some friends in the podcasting community have submitted their lists, and they are bonkers, is what I will say. It is. We might have an all new number 1 on the list this year. There's a
that's very possible. I think it's
very
gone
high
back
chance.
and forth with. Yeah, it's been going back and forth with Empire and Return of the Jedi, I believe, recently.
And
right?
I think we might get something completely new. I haven't done all the math yet. What?
The Clone Wars movies.
The Clone Wars movies. It's live action films, Andrew. We're going with live action. People have.
Thank God.
Yeah, so there's 11 of them total, and I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of the lists. We've got I will say, I've received probably 11 to 15 of the 30 or so that we're going to get, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So look for that on New Year's Day. That's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to do Duel of the Fates, Andrew.
Can I vote for the holiday special?
No. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. We got that going on, so keep your eyes and ears peeled right here.
Oh, totally. And Andrew, what news is going on with your life? I know the Infinity Rewatch is still going on, Andrew. So
Infinity Rewatch, yeah, that's our bi-weekly Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast where myself and Ryan J. Whitehead, who is the biggest comic book fan I have ever met in my life, he loves it with all his heart and soul. We rewatch the Marvel movies in release order, and we just dive deep in them, because I haven't rewatched any of them since they've been out. So it's really nice to get in there with retrospective and look at that Infinity Saga as a whole. We have a lot of fun doing that, and you can find that on the Rebel Scum Podcast Network as well.
Yeah, is the next one this weekend?
I think so.
Yeah, which was that? Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Oh God.
Everybody's 4th favorite Iron Man movie.
So actually, I've heard it, and that's actually pretty.
Oh, very much so. It's one of the forgettable ones, I suppose.
I think it is highly underrated. I love Iron Man 2.
I really love the third act. I love that final
I'll
battle.
tell you what, Andrew. It does not. You don't win on that episode.
All I know is Christine Everhart is going to be the new villain in Phase 4 and beyond.
Yep.
There you go.
Calling it right now.
Canon.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks guys for joining us again. Again, we will be getting more Mandalorian Scum. We'll be talking about more things Mandalorian in general. So thank you guys, and please comment below. Let us know what you think of this season, the way it was gone. Let us know what you think about this episode, the way it was gone.
Let us know what you think of my hair. Does it look okay today? Tell me.
No, totally, absolutely. And tell us what your signet would be if you were a Mandalorian as well. So thank you again for joining us for this episode, and we, the 3 of us, have spoken.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.